Hello again. So entering the backpacking world in 2018 benefited me greatly. There are an amazing amount of small companies, large companies, all kinds of companies making all kinds of amazing gear that is incredibly lightweight and quite durable. So being that I had absolutely zero backpacking gear or even camping gear for that matter, it was a great time for me to join the game and figure out what it was that I wanted and what I thought I might need on the trail. There were a lot of options when it came to water bladders, whether it be to drink straight from the bladder, just to store water, use it just for dirty water for filtering, and then roll it right back up and stick it in your pack. After doing a lot of research on the matter, I found a company that was making a bladder that I thought would suit my needs perfectly, specifically due to their design. And that would be Knoc Outdoors Vecto. Many of you have probably already seen the Vecto. It's becoming incredibly popular. The company is pretty small from what I understand, and they do only make the 2-liter and 3-liter Vecto and a set of folding trekking poles, if I'm not mistaken. They do offer a couple more products on their website, such as attachments for the Vecto and even the Deuce of Spades, I think. But as far as their company logo, I do think those are the only two products they make. The main reason I decided to go with the Vecto was the wide mouth opening on the end. From what I've seen of all my research with the PCT, a lot of the water sources are very low-lying or just kind of hard to get, small trickling sources from rocks and things like that. So having this wide mouth on the end will make that a lot easier to scoop up or just lay down and let it flow right into it. Seemed to me like it was going to be a lot easier alternative than filling up your whole water bladder with that small mouth opening that all your general bladders have. Now I know the Camel Pack makes the bladder with the screw opening on the side, but from what I understand, those leak quite often, and I don't plan on actually storing my filtered water in a bladder so that I can drink it. This is more just for my dirty water so I can filter it, roll it back up, stuff it in my bag, and if I do need the extra water storage, that 2 liters of extra storage will just strap right to the top of my bag. There are a couple other benefits of the wide mouth opening on the Vecto, such as you can take the Vecto and spread it open so that you can dip the end of the Vecto down into cold water and not have to get your fingers off in there. And the importance of that to me is when it's cold outside, that water will just drain all the heat out of your hands, and it will take forever to get your hands to stop hurting, or at least it does mine. So it's nice to be able to collect almost 2 liters of water without having to get your hands wet, especially in a colder climate or environment. Another is it makes it very easy to clean and dry. So you can get your hand all the way inside there and clean it all out, dry it all out. This will help solve some of the mildew issue that people have experienced in the past with bladder systems. Now, mildewing is not an issue with a particular company or brand or product. It's just the fact that if you can't get in there and get that water out of there, it's very likely going to mildew. So it's nice to be able to get your hand in there and dry all that excess water out. This bladder is made from a very durable yet very flexible material called ETPU. I'm not sure what that is, but I do know that it's FDA approved and BPH free. Whatever ETPU is an incredible material. The Vecto has a pressure rating of 220 pounds before its breaking point, which is absolutely insane to ask of a water bladder, because the only time you're ever going to come to a situation like that is if you drop it off a cliff, or if maybe you, I don't know, take a nosedive and fall directly onto your water bladder. I just can't think of a lot of reasons why your water bladder would need to hold 220 pounds, but the fact that it will is pretty awesome, because that means that in your average day of backpacking, you're not going to come across a situation where you have to worry about it having to withstand anything more than that. Now, I have seen that there are people that do a standing test where they will stand on the water bladder. I myself am 265 pounds, so I quite well exceed that pressure rating, and I would never expect my water bladder to be able to hold me up. So I probably won't be doing any standing tests for you today. I'll just have to take their word for it. Another great benefit is, even though it is incredibly flexible and durable, you don't have to sacrifice weight or packability. The Vecto weighs in at 2.6 ounces or 76 grams, which is not a whole lot. Its rolled up pack down size is 7 inches by 2 inches by 1.5 inches, so it slides just about anywhere you want it in your pack. The thread pattern used on the Vecto is a very common 28mm thread pattern. That means your average filter products such as Sawyer Squeeze, Straw Flex, and the Hydra Blue Flow will screw right to the end of it, and you can filter your dirty water right into your drinking bottle, which is what I do. Now, Knoc is aware that not everybody likes to squeeze filter their water, that some people like to gravity filter their water, and they have options, accessory options for that on their website at knocoutdoors.com. feel free to go check them out. I don't have any of that gear because I do squeeze filter my water. So if you're curious about that, head on over to their website and they've got some videos, pictures, and a list of all the accessories that you can use on this Vecto. Also, another accessory that I see that they have partnered with another company for, I don't remember its name, and it is quite an interesting little addition to the Vecto. It is basically a bidet fitting that screws onto the end of your Vecto. So you can screw it onto the Vecto, squeeze the Vecto, and it shoots a almost perpendicular stream of water so that you can clean your private areas with it while on trail, I suppose. I know this is not meant to be a funny addition for the Vecto. It is actually something a lot of people, I'm sure, will use. I personally won't be using it, but if that's something you want to look into, it may be a good addition to your backpacking kit. If personal hygiene is a huge factor for you on trail and whether or not you're going to be comfortable. And as many people have stated, if you're not comfortable on trail personally, you are not comfortable on trail, you're not going to have a great experience. So if that's something that you want, Cnoc has got it for you. Now, my personal experiences with the Vecto have been great. I carry two 2-liter Vectos in my pack. I don't need that kind of storage around here. There are plenty of water sources for me. I'm carrying the 2 because that's what I'll be starting with in the desert for the first 700 miles of the PCT. I will send one home once I hit the Sierra, but, you know, for 2.6 ounces, the ability to carry the extra water on long dry stretches if I need it is a good peace of mind for me. Now, my original plan was to start in April as most, and it is very hot. Water sources are very unpredictable at that time of year. I since have gotten my permit, which has me leaving March 11th, and from speaking to the Southern California locals, they're having a very heavy rain year right now, and that is the rainy season, or the end of the rainy season. So there may be a lot of viable water sources for me. So I may get into the desert and realize I don't need to carry 2 of these, but I am going to start out with them. Just like everything else in my kit, is subject to change. In using this Vecto, I've loved it. I spent some time in the Wichita Mountains in Oklahoma, and there were pretty decent water sources, so I did only need to use one of them. But the wide mouth came in handy on multiple occasions. The water sources were coming down the mountain, and they were fairly trickling. There was quite a bit of water, but it was all running very smoothly along the rocks. So I had to find small places, little nooks and crannies, adjust some leaves, and shove that wide mouth up underneath there and just let the water slowly go into it. And I have to say that if I had had to fill up my entire bladder using just the small mouth at the other end, it would have taken significantly more time. As far as attaching my Sawyer squeeze to the end of the Vecto and filtering into my bottle, it takes no time at all. I know a lot of people don't like to stop and squeeze filter their water. They would prefer put their filter on their water bottle or have a be-free bottle and just be able to drink the dirty water straight out of the bottle through the filter and be done with it. But honestly, I just like to sit for a second, filter my water, and with this setup it allows me to do just that. With the Sawyer squeeze and the Vecto, it takes no time at all. As far as durability, I don't have a lot of experience with it. I have filled it up about 1.5 liters, not the full 2-liter capacity, and strapped it to the top of my pack and hiked through the Wichita Mountains. There are a lot of trees overhanging, and they were slapping at it, and when I was going underneath it, you could hear it scraping across the top of it. I don't have any punctures or tears in it after having done this. So from my personal limited experience, it seems to hold up quite well. Now, Cnoc does not claim that it is puncture proof. This thing can get small punctures, and on their website they have a video and a product recommendation for how to fix those pinholes. They're very easy to fix. There's an epoxy product that they recommend that they use to fix their pinholes, and they give you a little rundown of how to find the pinholes, and when you do find them, mark them, and then use this epoxy, let it set for a little while, and you're ready to go. So not only is it a durable product, it is a repairable product, and that's a huge factor on a good piece of gear for me. Now, Cnoc being a small company, they do not actually manufacture this product. It does say that it is it does say that it is made in China, but it is designed on trail. So what that tells me is I do believe that the guys who started this company were backpackers or are backpackers, and they designed a product based on what they found they needed in the trail or on the trail, and they found a company who would make it for them. So I think that's great, and I'm happy to support them. All in all, I think this is an amazing bladder. I haven't had experience with a whole lot of other bladders, but I have played with a few of them, and none of them seem to be near as durable or as flexible even as this Vecto. Most of them, even though they are pliable, they're fairly rigid, which to me tells me the more you roll it up, the more you stuff it in your sack, the more it's going to crease and or tear, or at least create weak points that will in its turn cause pinholes. So I'm holding out a lot of hope for the Vecto. I plan to carry it through my entire trip of the PCT this year. Also, Knoc announced on Instagram about a month ago that they're going to have a competition for 2019. One for the highest Vecto and one for the furthest traveled Vecto. Now, I don't think that I'm going to be able to reach the furthest traveled because I have spoken to many people who plan on doing a calendar year triple crown, which I'm not even going to go into because it blows my mind to even think of being able to do something like that. But they're a couple of them I know are carrying Vectos, so I'm not going to get the longest distance one. But I do plan on summiting Whitney, so hey, who knows? Maybe I'll get the highest Vecto award for this year. I asked Knoc on Instagram when they announced this contest that while standing on Whitney, if I were to hold the Vecto over my head, if that would count as an extra 7 feet or so. And they said they will take that under advisement, but it's probably not fair for the shorter hikers out there. So I don't know if I'm going to get away with that one. All in all, it seems I found another great piece of gear coming from another great company. I've loved talking to them back and forth. I've loved using their product, and I can't wait to take it with me on my through hike of the PCT this year. So if you like the videos I've been putting here on YouTube, or you just want to follow me on my PCT adventure in just over 45 days, feel free to hit the subscribe button and follow along. Until next time.